Oh, we're live. Hello, everybody. We're live. So, hope everyone is well. I'm assuming everyone knows who I am. Yeah, followers. So, Jim Breuer show. Here we go. I'm working on all new stuff. Get the Buddha. Got a lot of things going on here. A little coffee, a little water. I'm not really sure what this is. Oh, it's got like a African. I don't know what it is.
You can shake it.
It's got Africa, which I'm leaving for the entire month of August for. So I'm kind of hoping no crazy wars go down or whatever, because don't mess up my time going to Africa. That's all. That's all I ask. So if you're not in the know, but lately I've been filming these stories called "Funny How God Works," which is on YouTube. Another one. Is it okay to say?
Yep.
Yeah, another one will be released today. And they're all true stories. I've told them in the past on different podcasts and a few of them here and there. But the comments are through the roof, and the questions. So I started looking at all the questions that you all have between heavy metal. Did I go see Metallica? Which, God, there's so much I want to get into right now. Right now, if you're a hard rock metal fan, I believe you can live stream Black Sabbath's grand finale show with all those bands that are in Birmingham right now. Now, I don't think Metallica is going on till later. I talked to them. They're going on much later. I can't wait to see the Metallica fan movie, too, that's coming out. Metallica Saved My Life. But I went to go see them, and the coolest thing about it was I saw them in Tampa, both shows. People say, which show did you go? Both shows. I grew up Metallica. I'm not going for one show. I'm doing both shows. I'm putting this out there. Respect to the Stones. Respect to all great rock bands. Metallica is, tell me who's bigger. Tell me who's putting 100,000 people in a stadium every single summer. Not a few summers, every single summer for the last 2-3 summers. I don't know if you're going to find too many people to do it. Yeah, so it was great to see them live again. I lost my mind. There was a video that went out of me air guitaring before they came up. Before they came on stage, there's I don't know who posted it, but before the AC/DC, before Metallica starts their concert, they play "It's a Long Way to the Top" by AC/DC. And it's bagpipes in there. So I was air piping, and I gotta say, I'm not sure anyone's ever air piped. So I'm gonna give myself a little kudos for that. And I did a really good job too. I have to say, when I watched the video, I went, "Yeah, I'm pretty good at air piping." So we're gonna take a lot of your questions because I like the questions. Listen, if you're gonna ask doofy questions, I'm just not gonna answer you. So don't waste your time. Don't. Why waste your time with doofy questions? So don't do that. I wanted to get into some stuff about what I'm working on, but I don't want to. There will be a show or shows announced fairly soon. I'm not sure if we're going to announce it when I come back in September or if I'm feeling it before then. I'm just not sure. I do know there will be one benefit show in Naples, Florida in November. I'll get you the date on that, and that's a benefit for a children's foundation. And then there's this whole other monster in the works that I can honestly say I've been waiting maybe my whole life to do, and I really mean that. So, with that said, let's jump on the questions.
Okay, so the speaking on Metallica.
Metallica, yes.
What, in your opinion, is your favorite Metallica song?
I get asked this question all the time. What's my favorite Metallica song? You have to understand something. Metallica was like I don't want to say they were my church, but they were my church. I learned so much from them. And it made me think so deeply about the entire system. The reason why, for me, that band, I grew up in the 80s. So in the 80s, MTV was the god of the generation. So MTV basically was telling you who to follow, what bands to look like, and you saw it. You don't think music and culture has an effect on a generation? Watch how everyone dressed in the 80s. You had females trying to be Madonna. You had, oh my gosh, I had my one friend Neil in school. He dressed like Duran Duran, who I couldn't stand. Couldn't stand Duran Duran. Girls on film, baby, I couldn't stand the new way. I couldn't stand The Cure. I know people love The Cure. I know they love them, but the hair, he always sounded like he was whining. Oh my gosh. No. I wasn't, but Metallica, my dad was in World War II. He fought in World War II. So I was trying to understand him, religion, faith, things that I believed in. And for me, Metallica hit all that. See, some people, it's funny. I would go back and forth with certain people. They're like, it's evil. Like, well, what's evil? Well, listen to the lyrics. But what their lyrics did, like, my gosh, I'll go with their first album, Kill 'Em All, which is supposed to be fuck 'em all. But they couldn't name it that. So they put Kill 'Em All. So it's kind of a rough name, but if you don't understand it, you had The Four Horsemen, which is one of my favorite songs. One of my all-time favorite songs, The Four Horsemen. You had No Remorse, and that song, No Remorse, taught me or made me think about how we teach people to kill in war. And that was a very you go to school and you're like, we were attacked by blah, 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 and then and we had to send our troops to go blah, blah, blah. Where that song really, like, no remorse, no regret. It's basically how they train you to be a soldier, kill with no remorse and just get over it. Which, those are the little details that they didn't fluff anything. And then you went on to the next album, the Ride the Lightning, and even Am I Evil, which is some people can see that as a very dark, evil song, yes. But the line that gets me is, am I evil? Yes, I am. I am man. Now, it was a cover, but those things would make me think, like, yeah, humans, a lot of humans are designed to be evil, and we don't believe that exists. So to pick one particular song is really hard for me because they were all lessons for me. On Sanitarium, I think that's on Master of Puppets. In my life, when I saw my brother pass away and leave 3 young boys, when I saw my sister, whose husband was an addict and just left, and I saw those broken homes, especially when my father died. When my brother died. That rug was just pulled out from my nephew's life. You have a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, an 11-year-old boy, and they just wake up the next day and like, yeah, no, your dad, he's out. What do you mean? What do you mean? Yeah, no, he's dead. Sorry. Keep going on with school. You know, and they're in school, and school don't care. School's like, yeah, your kid's not paying attention, so he needs some drugs. Well, no, he's not paying attention because his father's dead. They don't teach you that in second grade. And a lot of people go through that. So the sanitarium, where we have these systems to supposedly help you, that was a very powerful song, and I really resonated with it. And it made me question everything in our establishment that they say is for the better of mankind, and continue. So there's Damage Incorporated. Woo! Woo! I get nutso with the song Damage Incorporated. Sad But True. That song helped me so much with temptation of vanity, evil, and true intentions. That song to me is like the devil sitting you down. I would tell people, I'm like, you want to know what addiction's like? You want to know what real temptation is about? You can go to church and they can talk all you want. I only need to hear that song once. I got it. And that message has resonated over and over. When we were in Tampa, I just went to see that when that song came on, and hello to all the black ticket holders from way back in the day, all the diehard Metallica fans that I've seen, all of you, you know who you are, Sarah and the whole crew. I don't want to leave anyone out. The Vikings, all you guys. They all knew when I came in, like, are you out here today for Sad But True? I'm like, of course I am. Plus the other songs. So to say one song, I don't know if I can do that. All I can tell you is there's maybe two songs. God, I know you wanted a specific song. I don't know if I can answer that. I know it's kind of a bummer. I can tell you this. Whenever I hear Damage Incorporated, I don't care what my mood is or whatever. I got to go off to the side, and I got to blast it in my head. It vents out my energy. It vents out my energy. Any energy that I need to release, I put out. I used to like Saint Anger. A lot of people don't like that album. Saint Anger is a great song. It's so powerful and real. So I'm sorry, but I don't know. If I had to go to an island, oh my God, For Whom the Bell Tolls. I think that was my first introduction to Metallica, that song. I mean, I heard songs, but that one really kicked in. That one kicked in. And that's another one, taught me all about war. You read the lyrics to For Whom the Bell Tolls and the energy in that questions everything. Even to this day. Like, okay, Ukraine, Israel, you pick the country that wants to fight. Iran, us, all of it. Why? Well, they got new. Why? Those are all people that to me that told me that's people that control us. For this hill that we kill. Why? We don't know. This is what we were told to do. Think of the mentality of that. See, this is what I mean. Think of the mentality. Can you imagine if someone came to now? Let's say you're a parent and you're raising a child. Would you ever, and you're in this nice little neighborhood, someone comes to your house and says, I need your child right now to be sacrificed because they may get murdered and killed for the cause that you have no interest in, but we need you because you live in the neighborhood or you live in the country or you're part of our, like, do you realize the voodoo mind control in that? And there's still people out there today that got their flags. I stand for Ukraine. You don't know what you're talking about. If people got together, we'd always find a way to not have an issue. Oh, wait, I don't care what you say. If you took people from Ukraine and you took people from Russia and just the people were sitting down, I don't care if it takes 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. They'll figure it out to the point where you don't have to send missiles to one another. It's the ones that are just sending the missiles and purposely, oh, we need to defend, and did you? That's pure evil to me. I don't care who they are. That's pure evil. Pure evil. So I don't have a particular song. I can list. You know what I'll do one day? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through the Metallica songs, and we'll have fun. I'm not sure. We'll talk with the crew here. And I've always wanted to do this too, and I just didn't know how. And I will go through this, what each one means to me, and the thoughts I had, the message I got from each one, and we'll do that as a special thing, if that's cool with you. If that's cool with you, great. If it's not, oh well, I don't know what to tell you. That's on you. That's on you. I don't know. All right, what's the next one?
Favorite member in Metallica to hang out with? Any fun stories?
Favorite member of Metallica to hang out with? Listen, I'm close with James, the singer. He is fun to hang out with, but I must say, Lars was. We don't hang out. We haven't hung out in a long time. Lars, I had a lot of fun hanging out with. Lars is fun. And I'll tell you what, because it's Black Sabbath today and they're performing, I'll tell you one of my favorite things, because this is what I like doing. You know, I lived in New Jersey. I was fortunate enough with my finances that my wife made me this tiny little movie theater in the house. It wasn't a big, it was a little movie theater before people really even started getting these huge, like every house has a movie theater now with these screens. But one of my all-time favorite moments was I'm at Lars's house in San Francisco. And it's beautiful. It overlooks the bay. It's incredible. But the best time is we're hanging out. You know, he's catching a buzz. I'm catching a buzz. And this is one of my favorite things to do. And it's funny, before I came here last night, I was thinking about this. I want to build a room just so I can go in and pretend I'm at my own concert while I'm watching it. I'm with Lars, and one of the things he loved to do, and I saw the passion of where he comes from. He knew I'm a big Judas Priest fan. He goes, bro, he's like, dude, you gotta see this. You come to my room. And he had a little tiny little screening room, like a movie room, and it was tiny. You know, like it wasn't like this big thing. It only had like 4 seats. And he turned on Judas Priest Live, 1982, the concert that hooked me. They start off with the Electric Eye, and they go into Riding with the Wind and Metal Gods. And he's watching me, and he's like, I'll do that with anyone right now. You want to come watch it? We come in the room, we hang out, we watch that concert, and we'll You're gonna be my new best friend after that, especially if you know each song. Well, then Lars is like, let me show you something, and I saw where all his passion came from. He put on Black Sabbath live, a film I don't know where he got this. I have no clue where he got this concert from, and we're talking late 90s here, something like that. And it was Black Sabbath, and he's walking up to the screen, right? It's just the two of us, and I'm watching. He was so excited, and he's pointing to the drummer. He's going, look at him, look at, God, this is where it started. This is where and he's just, look at him, look at, and I went, oh my God, this is his influence right here. This is where it all started. Right here. You know, and then I'm going back to Rob Halford and Judas Priest. I'm like, listen how high it gets right here. Listen to that. Listen to that. And then he's going back to Sabbath. Watch. Geezer right here. It was two kids hanging out. And then the other time, too, I was playing San Francisco, a place called the Fillmore. You know, I had the band behind me, and we tell stories. If you ever see the comedy special Hardcore, you'll see there's a band behind me. Well, we were touring before that. Comedy Central was like, hey, we want to film this as a special or whatever. So we were touring before that special, and when we were in San Francisco, both James and Lars came to that show. And I was doing things like, I'm going to date myself here, but the TV show Gilligan's Island, sit right back, hear it tell. We would do impressions like, okay, here's if Metallica were to do it. And we did it like one. Boom, ding, bing, bing, sit right back, and you hear it tell. Tale of a fateful trip. Ooh. And I can hear James in the balcony going, hey, 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 hey. I was like, oh my gosh, that was James laughing. But then he left, and Lars was there too, and Lars came on the tour bus. This tour bus. And at that time when we were touring, we would listen to the band System of a Down. And I think you're catching a theory here. I don't follow bands unless their lyrics and their message resonates with me for a long time. That band System of a Down was my new. There was Priest, Old Priest, this Metallica, and then the new one was System of a Down. And Lars comes on the bus, the tour bus, and we go to the back of my tour bus, and he loved System of a Down too. But he was like, have you ever heard the song Sugar? Went, no. He's like, dude, how could you like System of a Down and just not even know Sugar? Play Sugar. And all I remember is him playing that. We played the song, and he gets in your face. I don't know if that's a Danish thing, but he'll talk to you this close. I'm like, dude, back up. It's American style. We don't get that close to the face. And we moshed in the back of our tour bus. Me, my friend Larry, Jimmy, Paul was on there. Everyone on Hardcore in the background was on that tour bus. And Lars was on there. And he knew every lyric and the passion of him singing that song. I don't know about you, but I think it's really cool when I see someone let go and they're really into music. I don't see a lot of people do that. You know, some people are like, oh, yeah, I love this song. Like, if I'm really into it, I really show it. I go nuts in my car. I act it out. I used to love doing that in my basement. Lars, I've seen with my 2 eyes do that multiple times. And I love that with anyone. And he's acting out the whole song. And then, he shoved me like, oh, okay. You're half my size. Dude, we'd pick Lars up. We'd throw him on the couch. And we'd all pile on him. And then he'd jump on. Dude, moshing with Lars Ulrich. If you're a metal fan, does it get better? And I'll never forget when he was leaving the bus, and I feel like System of a Down should know this. And dude, Lars, I apologize, but I asked the tour manager, I'm like, we gotta start driving out because he's gotta go to bed. It had to be like 4 or 5 in the morning. We're like, we can't sit here moshing all night. We're exhausted. We already did a show, and as he was leaving the bus, which he left his hat on, I had to get his hat back, and we blew our speakers. Lars goes, if I had a torch and Metallica had to give the torch away, right now I'd give it to System of a Down, which I thought was like, oh my God, yes! So on a different note, I like that System of a Down now is back out there touring. But yeah, that goes down as one of my all-time favorite moments, hanging out with some of the Metallica guys. There was another night too when they played Saturday Night Live, which I would constantly go to the front office. I'm like, why don't you get Metallica? You're huge. Why won't you guys have Metallica? And sure enough, now I'm not saying because it was me. I think they had that song with the Marianne Faithful, whatever. I don't know her name. I don't song wasn't one of my favorite songs, but that night I remember all of us. It was at the time Jason was the bassist. We jumped out of a van, me and Kirk, to get pizza at like 3:30, 4 in the morning. It was just that whole night of hanging out, driving around, the after party of SNL, eating. It's good times. And of course, the greatest was touring with them. It was one of the greatest times I ever had, man. It was incredible. I don't even know how to describe it. You're touring with your favorite musicians, and I get to see the shows whenever I see it. It's just, yeah, I can't say enough about it. So I can't wait for that movie to come out, the fan movie. It's called Metallica Saved My Life. So, all right, next question. Well, that was like a 40-minute answer. There's people out there like, I don't like Metallica. Can we ask another question?
4th of July is tomorrow.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's 4th of July tomorrow. What is your fondest memory of 4th of July growing up?
Done. 4th of July was the greatest, and I'm not going to say was the greatest holiday before it became corporate. Corporate ruins everything. When we were younger, there was nothing more exciting than where do we get the fireworks? Where do we get the fireworks? And on our street, there was always one kid who was a little older that'd be like, hey, man. And I lived in Long Island. They're like, I'm going to Chinatown, and they got fireworks. Here's the list. And he'd come in let's go in the garage. So we go in my garage, and I shut the garage door down. It was like this whole big black market trading system going down. And it was the lead up to 4th of July. And I'll tell you what, there was nothing more exciting as a kid growing up in Long Island, where about 2 to 3 weeks before 4th of July would hit, you would just hear, this is when you knew it was coming, you'd hear, someone's got bottle rockets. Like people started lighting off a couple bottle rockets during the day. You'd hear they call them mags. I don't know what they call firecrackers, but the whole mag. Pa, 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 pa. And sometimes, and the dogs, ooh, 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 and people lose their mind, like, if you keep lighting up fireworks, I'm going to call the police on you. So I'd have a friend, he'd go, the one kid would go into Chinatown, and then he'd come back with the list. I'd say, get me 2 tanks. I want a pinwheel. He's like, you want an M80? I'm like, no, I want no M80. It's like a bomb. I loved what would I get? Like any kind of rocket things. So the best was he'd show up, be like with bags of fireworks. And then you'd go in your garage, shut down, and it was like Christmas. Like, here's your tanks. Like, oh my God. Here's your bottle rockets. Oh my God. Here's your one missile flowers. We get flowers or flowers. Oh my God, this is the greatest day ever. And then I'd have like, okay, this one's allowed to go off July 2nd. This one I can put off July 3rd. And these we save for July 4th. And then not only did you have your July 4th stuff, I think this was here. I think that was there. I'm not really sure. Maybe he was there. July 4th would come, and then you'd have to size everyone up. Like, who's got the best fireworks? Because you wanted to be the best one with your display. And for us, too, growing up in Long Island, the whole street participated. So everyone would be out in the street. We'd have block parties. We'd block off the street, whether it was legal or not. And it was just so much. And then after this is another great thing about 4th of July. And there was always somebody who got hurt. You needed someone. I'm sorry, you need someone to get hurt. It weeds out the weak. It weeds out the weak. You sit there. There's always one guy with a Roman candle. Just, pow, he's got a lit firework just pouncing into people's yards. And that's another thing. If you weren't home for 4th of July and the neighborhood didn't like you, everything's going in your yard. Bottle rockets, yeah, pow, Roman candles, boom, 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 nailing that house. For all the fireworks, it's just lighting off in their yard. You did not want to piss your neighborhood off, because the 2 holidays that you're going to get it are 4th of July and Halloween. That's you don't want to be, you're not thinking long term if you're in a neighborhood and you're pissing off your neighbors, especially if they have kids. If you piss the kids off, they're going to get you 4th of July and Halloween. A little note for anyone that lives in neighborhoods. There was always a dog. Someone left their or someone's dog. We'd have this one lady come out like, my dog has been under the bed for 5 hours, and if my dog dies, and I was like, oh, shut up, Claire, go inside. I'm calling the cops. And here was the best part. People would always call the cops. Guess who was a cop in my neighborhood? My brother. So not only would he come down the street and everyone like, oh no, the cops are coming, which is always funny too, because we'd be lighting off the fireworks in the middle of the street once it got dark, and then everyone's on the lookout for cops, and then a cop would come down the street and we'd all kick the fireworks to the side like they didn't happen. There was stuff everywhere. It was a massacre of firework debris everywhere. It was smoke. It was a haze, and you just see the light going through the haze, and then my brother would show up, and we'd all be like, yay, it's Gary! And he'd open up his trunk and be like, look what I happened to confiscate. We got more fireworks! Hey, he was servicing the community. But this was fun for kids. The next day, July 5th, this was almost better than July 4th. All us kids would go scavenging throughout the entire neighborhood for duds. So if you light off a bunch of fireworks and you threw them in the street, there was always like 2 or 3 that didn't go off. So we'd get all the fireworks in the neighborhood that didn't go off. and we'd come on the street with them, and we'd break them open, and we'd take the gunpowder, and we'd pour them all in one spot. And our mission was to create what we called a genie. And it was all about who can create the biggest genie. And for us, that was almost just as fun as 4th of July itself. So 4th of July didn't even end on 4th of July. It continued. So I won't be doing that tomorrow.
What are you doing for 4th of July?
I have no clue. The older I get, I don't even follow dates anymore. I really don't. Like, I'm just shocked now that tomorrow's 4th of July. I went, oh, okay. I have zero plans. I have absolutely zero plans. What's going on with a big powwow?
Somebody just donated $50.
Really?
Yeah.
To me?
Yeah.
Thank you. That was really kind of you. I'm going to go to Chinatown and get myself some fireworks.
He said, love your God talks, Jim. You
Ah.
that in the world. Do you have plans to visit side splitters in Tampa? God bless, Charlie.
Charlie. Thank you, Charlie. Do I have plans? What did Charlie ask?
To visit side splitters.
Can they hear you? Yeah, go on the mic. Hold on, Charlie.
All right.
Charlie, that was really kind of you.
Love the God talks. We need more of that in the world. Do you have plans to visit side splitters in Tampa?
Okay. Charlie and all of you, I'm going to be blatantly honest with you. Can I tell them about Funny How God Works?
Of course. Yeah.
So, the Funny How God Works, can I tell them what's going on
Go
today?
ahead. Let it roll.
So today, what time? 2?
2 o'clock.
2 p.m., Charlie, we're dropping another Funny How God Works. I'm also filming. We filmed a bunch, and the answer is I'm going to tour Funny How God Works, and we're in the process of what that will look like. And you'll find out more about that most likely early September. I don't know if this is a comedy club theater thing, but I definitely most likely will hit that area. You know, here was, I'm going to be honest with you. Here is my, what I would call dilemma is there's these stories that I'm very passionate about telling, which obviously resonate with you, Charlie, and so many other people, especially when you look at the comments. A lot of people still just want to see just straight up comedy, straight up stand-up comedy. And although the stories on YouTube, the Funny How God Works, you know, there's like some moments that are lighter. And when I tour it, there's going to be a lot more funny added to it. I'm not giving all the funny and the personality, like the theatrical performance of it all. My worry is if I do a tour I'm working out in a comedy club, I worry that people come and they're like, I didn't want to see this crap. Where's him being really funny? Where I loved going to side splitters to work out material. So my honest answer is I don't see it in the near future unless people wrap their head around the funny. I'm all zoned in on Funny How God Works. The tour, all of it. I think it's a church thing. Now, even though it's not, I'm up there telling you, read the Bible and all that because I'm blatantly honest with you. I haven't read the Bible. Some people get upset with that. It's interesting. Christians will get like, he hasn't said he's given his life to. I don't understand that mentality. If you're getting a powerful message, what do you care what the label is? What do you care what the label is? If you're finding God, what do you care what the label is? I never understood that. And I don't mean any disrespect. It's just don't get so caught up in, you need to say you're a Muslim or you need to say you are Christian. Do I think Christian-like? Yeah. Some people now will call it the Christ conscious. I do always go, all right, what would be the love way if Christ existed today? How would it be handled right here? So I do have those, but I say it as God. What is the ultimate love answer right here? What is the understanding? So
somebody just donated $100. It said, yeah, brother, looking forward to it. Love it. God bless.
Thank you. Who's that?
The
Single wife?
The single life.
The single life. Thank you. Wow. I wasn't expecting that. Wow. I didn't even know you can do that.
Michael also said, you're amazing. Please keep putting the truth out and love. I'm wanting to start a podcast focusing on commanding similarities. Any tips? Love from Albuquerque. That's from Michael.
Yeah, Michael. Here's anyone that wants to start podcasts. And this is why I started doing the Funny How God Works officially. And I'm telling you, I've been working on this. You can go all the way back to 2010 when I wrote my book, which is, it's funny, those of you that watched the first Funny How God Works, the Las Vegas one, a lot of you were like, well, where's the book? What happened? It came out. I wrote it. It came out. It's called I'm Not High. I hated the title. That's a strong word. I wasn't fond of the title, which was I'm Not High, but I got a lot of crazy stories about being on SNL, half-baked, a father, and I put it out there. They allowed me to tag it on the end, a spiritual warrior. And that book was more about putting deep spiritual, godly messages out rather than the other stories. The other stories are entertaining. But my attitude is, you've seen me in whatever you've seen me or whatever. I try to be honest and real, like most of you. I'm not a Hollywood guy. If you've seen me in person, you know that. Do I like some of the perks? Yeah, I do like showing up at a restaurant that's packed and they're like, we can't let you in. And I walk to the bathroom and someone goes, oh my God, you're Breuer. And the manager's like, hey, just wait 2 minutes, we'll kiss you. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie to you. I like that. But I don't sit there expecting things. Does that make sense? I never, from where I came from, I never walk into a situation with expectations. So this message, I hope, resonates and inspires others to do their thing. And I got to be honest with you, I was probably inspired to finally make that move. The group that I'm working with now, they helped inspire me as well. And what I mean by that is, first of all, let me just answer that question, then I'll get to, what did he say?
He said, I'm trying to start a podcast.
You're trying to start a podcast.
Any advice?
Yeah, it's really easy. Don't try to appease an audience. Be authentic and yourself in whatever your passion is. Does that make sense? So in other words, here, silly example. 2015, I'm told you really have to start doing social media, right? Now I'm older, so I'm kind of behind that curve, and I grew up in a different way in the industry. You had to be on TV and you had to be noticed, blah blah blah. That year, my wife, and again, a negative turning into something beautiful. My wife was going through her second round of cancer, and she was going through chemo. Those of you who go through chemo, you know what that's like. but I was trying to make all these videos, and they're probably still on my Facebook if you go all the way back to 2015. And my videos were like trying to be I'm trying to appease. It felt uncomfortable, felt weird. They weren't viewed, some people viewed them, but I. However, the passion came. My wife is watching me watch. At that time, I was crazy baseball fan. I like baseball, and I was following the Mets. Grew up a diehard Mets fan. And the Mets opening day was on, and they were playing the Nationals. And the Nationals just signed Max Scherzer, the best pitcher, and he's going to bring him to the World Series. And the Mets had Bartolo Colon, a 300-pound, 40-something-year-old man going against typical Mets fan torture. And while I'm watching that game, which the Mets won, and they had a no-hitter against them up until, I think, the 7th inning. It was pretty intense. But Bartolo only had a one-hitter, and then the Mets pulled it off, I think, in the 7th or 8th inning. I'm just being myself when no one's around me. I'm like, why would you bring... Come on, that was a strike? Come on, come on. Oh, my God. Walk in, you know. Everyone's trying to do that. If you watch Barstool Sports and all that, it's just, and videos. 2015, I launched it. And my wife is watching me watch the game, and the game ended, or the Mets just are about to beat them, and I'm up against the TV. I go, big bad Max Scherzer. Oh, he's going to bring us to the World Series. However, you just got beat by a 40-year-old man. And I turn around, my wife going through chemo, sitting on the couch. She starts giggling, and she goes, this is what you should be doing videos of. And I just turned to her and I went, what? She goes, you are so passionate about this, but don't try to act. Don't act and be Jim Breuer, the comedian. Just be the fan. And I was like, oh my God, that's brilliant. I never even yeah. She goes, trust me, people are going to love it because it's so honest and sincere. And I posted the first video that day. You could go back on my Facebook, 2015, April, opening day, Mets. And that video, then the local news picked it up, and so did the Mets. And then my wife was like, you need to do this every game. I'm like, every game? There's 162 games. She's like, every game. I'm like, no. I'll do the Mets, all the big games that they push. She's like, no, do every game. Now, and I did every single game. I did a recap. And I caught lightning in a bottle. Who knew they were going to go to the World Series that year? And by the end of the season, I was getting 2 million views. And of course, Facebook wasn't paying you then, which shows also I was just doing it for the passion. You didn't get money for making these videos, even though 1 million people. I'm beating half the television shows for these 2-3 minute videos. I'm beating ESPN. I'm crushing television. But it was out of passion. So that's my best advice to you is don't try to appease anybody. Just be passionate and honest and let your following come to you. Let your following come to you, and that will make you so happy. If you want quick money, whatever, and that's another thing. What are you really in it for? Are you in it? I ask people this too. Are you in it for the leather pants and the kangaroo and to be a star? Well, then I got different advice for you, and I have no interest really there. Are you in it to change lives? It's a passion. It's something that means is very deep and resonates with you, and why you can still keep your moral code. Then yeah, go for it, but don't give yourself a timeline. we think we have times and control. You have no control, bro. It's all God's timing. You don't know when these things are going to resonate or how they're going to resonate. All you can say is like, I did what I had to do, and I'm happy with it. And if something comes of it, great. That's so find your passion.
Michael just threw you $20. He said for your dad to buy a round, for your dad to buy a round at the Elks Club in heaven. Just watch your YouTube video with your dad. Great video.
Oh, thank you.
Also, Margot sent 20. She said happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July. I'm a little taken back by the
Crazy.
I don't know how to take that. Thank you. I don't know how to. That's not what I expected. That's not what I was. Thank you. Yeah, you know it's interesting with the funny how God's works. The Father one. The you're gonna like today's too. And let me explain something to you too with the funny how God works. We're really trying to mix up the stories, meaning the first one kind of was a feeler. I wanted to see how you would resonate with it. And then I hit the deeper one with the Cardinal. And today is really, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. And they're all true. They're true stories. And I love when people come up to my wife and they're like, is that true? And she's like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so, what was I going to say? There's tags. And what I mean is, and I don't know if we should save it for a filming. I'll just tell you this. The Funny How God Works, the one with my dad on YouTube, I remember bringing that story up to good friends of mine, and the husband was a theologist. He studied theology, so he knows all the religions and all the thing and all that jazz. I mean, he's right there, Greek, everything, right? Like a master at it. His wife is a psychiatrist. And I remember telling that story. And he laughed. The wife said, basically, I said, what is that? And she goes, it's whatever you want it to be. But I could tell, she's like, I studied science and my educated, it's whatever you want it to be. I went, no, you don't think it's something deeper? She's like, it's whatever you want it to be, which I respect that answer. However, what happened after that, especially to that family, is so, I'm going to get choked up talking about it, is so powerful and so deep, and it resonates with that story because something happened to them. And another one down the pipe, another incredible friend, Rob. It's beautiful. It's amazing. That's what I call it. It's amazing. So, thank you, I guess is all I'm trying to say. I have very long answers. I apologize.
Another question from Instagram. I'm reading these off of Instagram.
Instagram, okay.
So, and then we have a bunch of people in the chat asking questions. We're going to try to get to as many of them as possible.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get as many as you can because I have nothing but time right now. But
what do you think about the influence of socials on the youth? Like social media.
Social media on youth is huge. That is my MTV. The only what I do love about social media for the youth is I think this youth is the most spiritually open generation possibly in the lifetime that I've ever seen. that I ever lived in. And what I mean by that is they are questioning everything. And there's nothing more powerful and beautiful than question. Would I like to see more? Yes. Would I like to see this system get broken down? What do I mean by the system? There's no reason why we need to be going through school. I'm sorry. You can yell at me, scream at me, do it all you want. There's no reason why kids today need to be in a school. If the parents are working, fine. But maybe they work on a farm. Maybe what are they getting out of a school? It's not teaching you anything important, deep, valuable for your lifetime. I'm sorry. You can debate me all you want. So the idea of money, power, which is and sex. Money, power, sex is what's been driven and shoved down our throats our whole lives between reality TV. And I always say this. I love when they say, no offense to our country or any others, we're one nation under God. See, to me, that's a voodoo trick. What God are you referring to? What God are you really? You never define the God you're talking about. Because if we're going to say, in God we trust, on our money, and you have symbols of an all-seeing eye, there's a lot of symbols on there. You're not, but that's an illusion. Like, oh yeah, well, under God, and God's going to help our country, and God's going to. What God are you talking about? Because if you turn on any television, you have news. What is news spread? News teaches you right out of the gate, hate, period, judgment, gives you thoughts of wanting to kill, enforces your thoughts of why you should kill or why we should kill. Sex. Think of all your big stars today, how much of the stars, it is pouring rain here in Florida. I don't know if you can hear that. Think of how much of our life is driven by sex. Let's take the Kardashians. How'd that start? A porno flick. Sex tapes. What are you telling the youth? To disrespect yourself, and if you go sexual, you'll become a star and all that. So I think there's a divide coming, and the divide is you're either gonna be the addicted to vanity, taking pictures of yourself, look at where I am, imploding my looks, my lips, my boobs, the man doing steroids, implants, whatever it is. And the other one is just truth, faith, honesty. And I think social media offers a lot of information in that world. I love exploring deep talkers, and social media has opened the door for so many avenues. You know, this Dolores, I wish I knew Dolores' last name. She taught me so much about energy, about manifesting energy. How do you manifest energy? I just went through this with my, if someone comes up to you and they're like, I'm married, all right? And my wife comes up, she's like, you got and you got to talk to him. Like, it immediately makes you like, okay, all right, what? She absorbed my energy, and my energy is being controlled. Anyway, where to learn how to just manifest your energy and go, why are you like this? And why are you like, what's going on? I can't jump into that. Hey, we need to bomb so-and-so. How many, the politics. How many people, I'm putting my flag up and I'm going to rip that. Your energy is being controlled. Period. It's controlling your actions. It's controlling your emotions. When you understand how much influence controls your actions and your energy, it'll really set you free once you have that under control. It's pretty powerful and beautiful. So I think social media has great potential to change the world for the better. And it is. I don't care what anyone says. It already is. It's bringing everyone closer together, and it allows you to skip past the darker energies and the darker messages and thoughts. So I have a lot of hope for the newer generations. I think they're going to do incredible. I know they are.
What's the most heartwarming story a fan shared with you about how you touched their lives?
The most heartwarming story, how a fan.
Mm-hmm.
There's not so much one story. Like, I'll tell you, to be honest with you, my Patreon group. When I first started Patreon, the reason why I started Patreon was, and you know what? I said in the beginning, the funny how God works. It was heavily influenced by fans as well, and it was heavily influenced by my Patreon group. And I really mean that. So when I first started Patreon, I did it because my comedy special platform was canceled because whatever. So it forced me to create Patreon so I can get my money back from the special I filmed. And then, you know, they were mad that I said I'm not going to play venues if you're vaxxed, or they're demanding vaxxed. And, you know, you would have thought I murdered babies for saying that. And that's fine. I know to this day, I thank God for having the strength to not fear that. So it forced me to do Patreon. And part of me to the appeal for Patreon was, okay, if you join Patreon, I'm going to give you the special. And we do a one-on-one Zoom if you want. We interview you. And those interviews really changed my perspective of how fans, true followers of mine, felt. And I was completely, because listen, I whatever you're a fan of, whatever makes you happy, then the job is done. That's what my calling is, to make you happy, make you laugh, and whatever it is. I thought I was going to get a lot of questions of what was Saturday Live like, and what was it like working with so-and-so, and I don't have issues with those questions. But almost every Patreon member that came on said, Jim, I'm going through this thing with my mother, and watching the More Than Me documentary with your father, and hearing the way you would talk about your dad on stage and the problems that you have at home, and you would bring them to the table. They helped me so much, and they one after the other. Another one come on and go, I want to pick your brain about faith. Like, let's go. Like, do you go to church? I went, no, I don't really go to church, but I'm not against church. I love the community of church, and blah, blah, blah. And we'd get into deep theories of how I felt. And one after the other would open up so much. And it really made me, it really inspired me to don't be afraid on the path that I've always been worried to go all out in, which is funny how God works. And there was one particular woman, Wendy, older lady. She's widowed. I've always, you know, I have a special heart for all of the Patreon members. Wendy, I kind of, because she's the oldest one, and she's always seems to be like an aunt to me. She's like, are you afraid of doing Funny How God Works? Why won't you do that? Those stories are so powerful, Jim. And and they would tell the stories of losing their husbands and how they thought something, but I reconfirmed it when I would tell my story. And if I reconfirm that and I'm not afraid to tell it, then it reinforced them. So it's not so much one particular story. And when I would go on tour, what blew me away was meet and greets. How many of the meet and greets just wanted to come up and either say just thank you for helping their lives, which I don't know how to listen. I don't know how to. I'm not good with thank yous, because in my mind I'm just sending a message. I always ask, like, hey, what do you want me to put out there? What do you want me to? What's the message you want out there? So I try to put it out, whatever comes through me. But so many people, I would say the number one thing is the family, losing a family member, and how my stories and my sharing the stories have helped heal them and put them on a path. And I continue to get them. I continue to get them all day long. It's so powerful. I can start going through my phone now, and I'm starting to, I've never seen this happen so much, and I'm starting to take snapshots of them. And I'm like, I'm going to start reading these, but there's so many of them. I almost wish all of you can read other people's stories. Maybe we start posting some of them. Mm-hmm. They're so powerful and beautiful. I mean, just go on the YouTube page, and if you look on either one of them, especially the last one, the Funny How God Works, you have the first one, which is Vegas, which is pretty. That's a wild story. And to me, that message is all about, you ever notice when you're on a good path? You ever notice when you're on a really good path, like, I'm going to do a thing, all these things start jumping in your walkway to block you and take you off your course? It happens all the time. That's another thing. Once you recognize it, it's like this. I really want to do this, and all of a sudden, but I could really use, certain income. I haven't worked I haven't taken income in a long time. I'm not saying I'm in trouble, but I'm zoned in on telling these stories because I know it's going to inspire and be extremely healing, powerful, and honest for a lot of people. But, here comes this, hey, we've got all these dates for next year. You make a lot of money doing that. It's easy. I want to go where my heart brings me. I wanted to say something else with that, and the thought went that way. I'm trying to see if it's going to come back. Where you at? What was the question? Maybe I'll remember.
The question was the most heartwarming story a fan shared with you.
So yeah, it's the fans coming up and talking about things they went through, one after the other. It's incredible. Oh, I was going to tell you, look at the comments. Look at the comments, because here's what I want you to understand. And I'm not selling. I'm telling you this because I know it's gonna help you. It's gonna inspire you. If you look at the comments on Funny How God Works, the father one, people aren't just writing. Yeah, they're writing like, oh, this is a good story. They're writing paragraphs of their personal things that they went through. That just shows you how we're all connected. And what I love about this, there's no politics, there's no whatever. I truly believe the only way we're going to break all this madness is getting back to serving one another. That's how we started in life. That's what we got to get back to. So it's another big mission of this. Yes.
We have another super chat. Hey, Jim, been listening to you for years. You helped me a lot with losing my dad. I'm only 32. I lost him as Too soon to a heart attack, living on my own. I'm doing really good. Quit drinking. Great job. Thanks.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, this came to me last night. I want to talk to people just like you. How old was he when he lost his dad?
He's 32 now.
Okay. Losing your dad is, or any parent, is always tough. I want people to recognize something, especially young people. If there's a young man, young woman that lost a parent, or they're divorced, and it's an ugly thing, and they don't have that parent, let me tell you something. Those are, in my opinion, the true warriors of humanity. Because any child, like I'll take my nephews, my brother dies instantly, which is, oh man, wait till you hear that funny, oh God, work story. Wow. As a matter of fact, I'm telling that's the one we're filming today.
Yeah, we're filming that today.
Wow. Wow. Layers. And I also had a nephew. If you don't have a dad when you're young, no offenses to mom, you're supposed to be a statistic. You're supposed to be dead or in prison or a junkie. You look at anyone who's a junkie, in prison, dead. What is the percentage of those people that go, I had the greatest father? Show me. Because what they go through is society keeps moving. School keeps moving. School's like, your kid has ADHD and they need a pill. Hey, guys, some drugs to get over your issues. I know you're going through emotional stuff, but here's some drugs. For any human being to get through that emotional trauma while the world is trying to push them in a different direction, while they're trying to heal, which nobody teaches them about, which while they're trying to find themselves and everything else, to make it to a place where you are, like this man, he stopped drinking. That, you know, my nephew, I have a nephew, his father was a heroin addict. He left when he was a baby. He came in and out, came back. He did end up going away. And then he got out. And not only get out, he's a good soul. I knew he was a good soul. He just had a tormented youth. And my other nephews who lost, they lost their direction when their dad was, when my brother's rug was slipped out from under them. And to make it to the point where now they're good human beings. They're husbands. They're fathers. They're just good human beings. Those people, screw your politicians. Screw the CEO. No, these people need to be looked at as, wow, how did you make it here? Wow. My hat's off to you. You are a human warrior. You're a spiritual warrior in my eyes. Always have been. Yeah.
Speak to some people in the chat are talking about like their own kind of battles with addiction. How would you guide them if they're battling with addiction right now?
Listen, I'm not an expert on addiction. I could tell you this. I know multiple people in my life that are addicts. They won't admit they're addicts. In my personal experiences, the addicts I know, it's just a drug to cover up the pain you refuse to face. You refuse to face the real issue. And what happened was somewhere along the line, like the guy who was just on, Dad dies, drink, numb yourself. You're numbing yourself. Okay, the pain just went away. I don't have to think about what happened in my life. No matter what tragedy happened, there's multi-levels of tragedy. My sister from a different father. All my sisters and brothers are from different fathers, by the way. It's one big. My mom had 4 kids, 3 different men. My dad had one other mom, and then together they had me. But I grew up, not so much my dad's side, but my mom's side with a lot of addictions. And, one of my family members who I had such a deep soul connection with, who passed away, she couldn't get over a moment that happened in her life. And she carried it all the way until she's not here anymore. And it was the most brutal, sad thing to watch. And then what happens is, listen, I did this with my own kid. My kid started hanging out with a bunch of meatballs in high school, and the bananas she would hang out with were I don't know if she wanted to fix them, whatever, but she was like, can I have a drink? Like, you're in high school. She's like, I know, but it calms my nerves. And I never forget, I said to her, and she brings this up to me, I went, let me explain something to you. If this is your tool to heal your issue, it's going to be with you your whole life. I have a family member that needs a wine and a cigarette. The second they feel like, you know what, okay. You taught yourself that's your only way to heal. So until you face your monster, you're never going to heal yourself. That's my honest opinion. You're never going to heal yourself, ever. And what happens is you get used to it. You start enjoying that feeling better than reality. But all you got to do, you know what? I call it hugging the tree. Let go of the tree. No, but you don't understand what let go of the, no, but you didn't. When did this happen? Yeah, but a year ago, but I'm not going to. Let go of the tree. Let go of the ledge. You can swim. I don't know if I can swim. I didn't make it. Let go and start doggy paddling. Whatever keeps you swimming, go. It's okay. What if I drown? I didn't. Let go. And most addicts don't even give it a try. Just give it a try. You're not going to be perfect. You're gonna fall down. But you got to face the monster. There's a monster in there. You got to take it out. And it has no right being in there. You're feeding it. You're feeding it. You're allowing it to exist. Listen, it's easier said than done. I'm well aware of that. But face the monster, get rid of the monster, and that's the beginning of changing your addiction.
God Bless America super chatted. Our lives changed today. You comped us tickets to see you at the Comedy Store with Joe Sib, and now we belong to the Brew Crew on Patreon, and have a support system. Thank you, Jim, for everything. DJ Dave and Kathleen.
Who's that?
DJ Dave and Kathleen.
Yes! Can I tell you, DJ Dave and Kathleen, this group, Kathleen too, yeah. You help tremendously, especially with the funny how God works in the faith stuff. It is, again, I don't know how to, I'm not good with my own family. I'm okay. Back in the day, my nieces and nephews say like, "Oh, guys, so funny," and blah blah blah, blah blah. But like with fans, I don't know how to. This group, Kathleen and DJ Dave, which if we ever do that, we're gonna do True Brew Weekend again. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not gonna let that last monster ruin it. We had a weekend I wanted to do this thing called True Brew Weekend. And on Friday night, it was in Sarasota on Friday night. Before this even happened, there's this guy, Boston John, just lost his dad. Part of Patreon. This group got together to come see me at Side Splitters in Tampa. And they, on Patreon, started talking with one another. And they formed their own little family, if that makes sense. And Kathleen, you were very pivotal with like protection and help. All of you were. So John had a barbecue. And he said, hey, if you can make the barbecue, all these Patreon members are showing up. Okay. I didn't tell them, but of course I was going to go. I had to. And when I showed up, they had these placemats made. DJ Dan, he was playing all the songs that day that he knew I loved, which just, I don't even know how to explain that day. I'm still in awe, and I don't know how to. I can cry. I don't know. So, thank you. Thank you. You guys changed my life too. Next one.
People are asking about the statues on the desk. It's a huge topic of conversation in the chat. The Buddha.
Yes.
That wasn't planned.
I'm a crybaby. I cry a lot. I don't know if it's from my 3 girls or just being deeper connected. God. Annoying. My girls make fun of me all the time. They even get off on it. They're like, you want to see Dad cry? Play this song. There's like 1 or 2 songs they know they hit. I'm like, stop it. Stop it. And they all start laughing. Okay, so the end of the day, why are these here? They were just here. I'm being blatantly honest. I didn't request any of this. But I will say this. I had a good friend, this guy, Stu, from way back in the day when I started doing stand-up comedy. He went to Thailand for a year. He left. He went off. He tapped out. Stu Kamens. Stu Kamens is his name. And he went to Thailand for years, and he came back, and he tried to rekindle back with me and Chappelle and all these people that he started with. And I'll never forget, he asked me one day, just after a couple conversations, and he goes, are you Buddhist? I went, no. And he goes, you're very Buddhist. I'm like, well, I don't know what that means. Like, what is, he goes, man, just the way you talk, and very, very Buddha. I went, oh, all right. So this is all coincidence. That's the best way I can answer you. We started this new thing, and we're sitting down, and I was like, oh, there's a Buddha. Okay, cool. None of this, I didn't put it here. I sat down, and this was here. I didn't say I need that, or I need this, or I need that, or the thing. Matter of fact, one of our friends here, Jace, he was like, what kind of, you want action figures? If you had action figures, what would you get? And I want Godzilla. I used to have a little Godzilla. So that's really at the end of the day, this just was here. There you go.
What would be your advice to people that hate their jobs?
My advice to people who hate their jobs. Why do you fear going in a different direction? That's the system putting you in prison. Why do you fear changing directions? You fear, are you addicted to the finances you're making? That's the big, I had a guy years ago. You know, whether you realize it or not, too, excuse me. Years ago, when I knew my parents were in trouble, or not in trouble, I knew they were getting older and I'm going to have to start, I wanted to start looking after them. I left show business. I left it for a couple reasons. But my entire life and career, I've been fortunate enough to be able to work so I can be around the more important things in my life. And let me ask you this, the one that hates your job. Would you rather spend the next 5-10 years miserable, which is going to lead to animosity, regret, anger? Perhaps you start taking that out on your family. Perhaps you start drinking more, getting high more, whatever it is to numb you from this. Or would you rather take that chance in life to go after what you always wanted to go after, even if it takes a couple years to get there? Is less money and happiness worth more in your life and everyone around you and the way you walk, rather than being pissed because I hate my job? And that's a question you got to answer.
Back to Instagram.
We're all over the place. So where are we? We're Instagram?
This is from the story poll that we put out yesterday.
Okay.
And then we're going back and forth in the live chat a little bit.
Got it.
What advice do you have for creatives to sustain a long career like you have?
I've always done what I wanted to do. I don't know how to tell others what to do, but I can honestly tell you I've done everything I wanted to do. And some people will say my flaw is I don't stick with it. Well, because I lost my drive and I lost my passion. Simple here. Was making Mets videos a career move? No. It was a passion. It did get me publicity, and I started doing shows, and it put me back in the public eye. But I got to do what I wanted, following baseball. And I'm saying, people coming out to see me, and I get to do stand-up comedy. SNL, once I had kids, once I had my first daughter, I was told, you know, I had this whole writing movie deal with a guy named Tom Shadyac who did all Jim Carrey's movies, and we had movies there, and it started getting intense. And I really had to look at, how's this close? How's this close? I want, Jim Carrey's right there, and I'm right behind him, same agent, same, and I'll never forget, they're like, you need to come out here and do what we want you to do and go see the people. That was one of those moves. Like, do I want to raise a child in the middle of Hollywood? No, I don't want anything to do with that. Well, then what are you stuck with if you're only limited in New York? And then I tried one more shot at the movies in New York. It just kind of happened. But what really, I wanted to be around my family. So I went into, someone told me, I was playing Caroline's Comedy Club, and the guy came into me and he's like, hey, there's this new radio program coming out where they allow you to talk about anything. And I went, anything? Anything. And that was Sirius satellite radio. And at the time, I believe it was called Sirius XM. And Howard Stern was not there. And I walked in there. I said, I want to do a show. And this allowed me to be home every day. I did a 2-hour radio show from 4 to 6 every day live, and then it repeated 7 to 9 every single day. And I got to go in there because I had the confidence, like, I'm going to give you a show that I know doesn't exist. It's just me and my friends, and we're hanging out. We're talking about real life stuff every day. And we're going to talk about all the issues. And we're going to talk about everything. Everything. As long as it's, and I got to be around my friends. Now, a lot of you can't do that. I understand that. But what I was doing is I was following my path. What's important? Faith, family. I keep my faith. Now I keep my family. I'm home every day until, my God, I'd even leave sometimes to 2 p.m. to New York City from where I lived. And I would get to New York City at 3:30 and the show would start at 4. And 6 o'clock I leave and I'm home by 7:30 to help put these kids to bed. And on the weekends I'm off and I'm not out touring. And then 2008, my dad, I want to be around my dad more, and how do I get him out more? And then I went back out on tour, and then I started filming that, knowing this is going to help people. So I could have done a lot of things. I always followed what makes my home life happiest. I don't need to be the, hey, Jim Breuer is the biggest. I don't. It causes so many issues. Just follow what makes your life important, what you truly love. It's not easy. I'm not gonna say it's easy. It's not easy, but that's what I did my whole life, and I continue to do. I took this whole year off so I can reconnect with a lot of things that are very important in my life. Reconnect deeper with my daughters as they get older. Reconnect with old family members that really are venturing into a new part of life. Reconnect into myself, home life. It's very important. So that's how I did everything. You know, and I loved hearing, I'll give you a comment that Chris Rock said to me once. So, and listen, great guy, comedian, empowering. I'm just saying at the time. Family's everything to me. And I had a huge family gathering, and I haven't seen a lot of family members, and my parents are getting older. And he had the Chris Rock show on HBO. And his team reached out to me and said, can you come in and film blah, blah, blah on this Sunday? And I just simply, I'm sure I still got the email. I said, hey, man, huge family thing I've been planning for a long time. I can't do that, but thank you so much. I would love to any other time. And I would have. I was in New York City, and at that time, too, I did MTV Beach House at the time, and that thing really got a lot of exposure, and I was done with SNL. And Chris came in to the comic strip after I was on stage, and I think he was mad. Yeah, I remember exactly how it went down. I came off the stage, like, ladies and gentlemen, special guest Chris Rock. And Chris went up, and from the stage, he says to me in front of everyone, hey, Jim, you're supposed to do MTV, then Saturday Night Live, not Saturday Night Live, then MTV. He goes, you know we reached out to you. And everyone's looking at, like the whole crowd is looking at me. And I said, I didn't know you were my new manager. Thank you. And what he didn't understand was, I'm not managed by the industry. I'm managed by my home life. And I've heard that from a lot of comedians. Oh, that's your thing, right? Family? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Because your industry is always going to exist. As long as I can make someone money, that's all they care about. They don't care if you're gone, blackballed, whatever. It's all about money. If I could show up and go, hey, I got a product. Here's a movie. They're going to go, oh, my God, yeah. We don't care what happened in the past. As long as you can make them lots of money. So nothing against Chris at that time. It was a very long time ago. But even then, I've always managed what was more important in my life. You know, could I blow my family off, which was very important to me at that time, and done that Chris Rock show, and then who knows, it would have led to multiple episodes? Probably. I don't care. I don't care. This is more important.
Somebody was asking, why aren't you a regular on Crowder? Seemed like a good fit.
Crowder reached out to me a while ago. I want to say like 2 years ago, maybe more. And Crowder was extremely helpful. And he's along the we resonated with a lot of things. Now you got to understand something about me. I don't. Here's what happened with Crowder. It's not anything good or bad. It's just so Crowder, who I really liked what he was doing, and I haven't seen his stuff. I don't watch people, but I know when I was there, I really enjoyed what he was doing, what he's putting out there. I've always liked Crowder. I loved, you know, I think he was the first guy to really start pushing serious buttons, and really the first one to expose a lot of society's issues that everyone was afraid to do. He had the audacity and the fearlessness of hitting certain subjects, and that I highly respect about Crowder. He's also a family guy. I love who he surrounds himself with. So, long story short, and I do plan on doing him again, especially if we tour, which we will. Funny how God works. He'd be incredible platform to talk about this. So I did Crowder. Loved what we did there. Huge fan. Huge fan. I'm also always very skeptical of not just Crowder, anyone going, you know, you're now part of us, joining a gang. And not saying his is bad or whatever. And he offered a lot. We want to do your comedy special. We want to do this. Da, 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 and he offered very generous. He also wanted my podcast there. And again, what you need to understand is I just started with the podcast world, and even the podcast world, I haven't found my honest passion, if that makes sense. So I don't like going, yeah, let's do this, and then trying to develop it while I was there, which I explained to him. I explained to him multiple times. Listen, I don't want to find myself trying to develop something and trying to appease while I'm there. I'd rather develop it, and then after I'm very comfortable in my zone, then I'm willing to listen to all offers. Now, he then created, I guess it would call a network, I don't know, where he said, I want you part of this, and blah, blah, blah. I said, you know, we'll discuss that. And he kind of announced I was part of it, which between you and I'm going to say was more of his excitement, not in a bad way, but his excitement of, hey, yeah, Jim. But I was like, hey, man, and I called him, hey, dude, we're not locked into anything. I don't have anything against you, but we're not locked in anything. Like, you announced this person, and you announced that person, and you announced me. We don't have contracts. We didn't discuss. We're just still talking. So it's not that I didn't like that, but I was like, whoa, dude, don't, like, let's not be a team here. Let's just keep it as we were going, if that makes sense. So does Crowder make sense? 100%. Full time? No.
All right.
Not for me. Not against him, just me. That's just me. It has nothing to do with Crowder. I am a fan, and I love what he puts out there. It's not for me. For me to join a team, when have I joined a team? Show me when I join a team. I always stray away from the team. I've always been that guy. I hang out with the metalheads. I hang out with the dirtbags. I hang out with the jocks. I hang out with the nerds. I hang out with the ones that are a little off. I like all groups of people. I don't like, that's why I can't stand when people are like, oh, you're a conservative. But no, I'm not. Don't label me. That label is on you. It's not on me. I never said, show me when I labeled myself. I want you to show me when I officially labeled myself, because I haven't. Free will. We're all free will. Just because when you start labeling yourself, that is the beginning of, in my opinion, doom. And the expectations are high. And people's expectations are extremely high. That's why even Christians were like, why won't you say, don't worry about it. Are you getting the message? Then don't worry about it. We don't need the label. Don't worry about it. That's just the way I roll. That's just the way I've always been. That's all.
All right, this is a fun one. Do you think we live in a simulation, like a Matrix?
Oh, I keep hearing this.
Total Recall, Avatar, Truman Show.
This is a biggie. The simulation. Are we in the Truman Show? Are we in the simulation? Here's the part that I can't wrap my head around. When I hear people say none of this exists, like this is part of what I want to be there. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I can't wrap my head around that. What do you say? It's here. I feel it. I can't. I'm open to everything. Do I think it's Truman Show-ish? Yes, I do. 100%. And I'll tell you why. Tell me why news exists. If your answer is, to keep you updated, you're lying to yourself. If I lived in a village with just 40 of us or 100 of us, which I have visited and lived in, why it's all control. It's all controlled chaos. And until you understand that, you're never going to free your mind. Or your heart. So I am in the thought process, this is a matrix. Because our society is made up. It's made up. School. Who was the first person that showed up to a bunch of native people said, we need to, you know what, get them Bibles and get them this and put some clothes on them and we need some schools. And no, that's called colonizing, which is a nice word for saying raping, killing, and starting our own civilization. Run to the Hills, Iron Maiden tells you everything you need to know about colonization, America, and everything else. Whether you want to face that or not. Again, metal taught me so much. Metal. They're not hiding anything there or patronizing anyone. So the Matrix, meaning everything that pops in your life, social media, entertainment's another drug. I just want to watch the ball game or the movie, which is fine. But it also infiltrates. It gives you sexuality. It gives you vanity. It infiltrates all the dark things it wants to seed in you. Who creates all that? Who creates programming? Who creates networks? Who creates the new fashion? Who creates everything? I can guarantee you It doesn't come from a safe, pure place. So we are born into a society that we only know, but the stronger-willed, deeper faith, deeper-hearted minds can see through it, even though they're infiltrated 24/7. From the news, they all say the same thing. Entertainment, they're always showing, sexuality. Let's take Pride or anything else. Like, who decides all this? It's just meant to stir your emotions, create more chaos, create more anger, create more division. That's all it is. And the minute you catch on to that, you will start to free yourself, and you'll see how many people are stuck in this madness that you can call whatever you want. Matrix, simulation, whatever it is. I don't know. But yeah, I'm open for all those discussions. That's the best way I can say.
I think we're good to go.
This was a lot of fun. If you want to see more of this, let us know. Today, 2 p.m.
Today, 2 p.m.
2 p.m. today, a new episode of Funny How God Works. Yeah, this one was pretty, This one's a wild one. And they're all wild. They all are, because they're true. They're true. The people that donated, I thank you. Thank you. And everyone that came on today and continues to stay on today. Hey, man, we're all on this journey together. At the end of the day, I'm still just like you. I really am. I'm still the little blue-collar meatball. My dad worked as a garbage man. My mom was at the airport. We're all for one, one for all. And that's always been my deeper mentality. And thank you for coming on this ride, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Oh. Have a good one, everyone.